Um, I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm trying to get this up. It's 4:30 in the morning, and I don't know. I've had a bad time. Anyway, I woke up, and so I'm going to do this. I'm watching TV, and they're talking about the Saudi king, and Trump has gone over there in reference to the disappearance of the journalist who worked for the Washington Post here, and supposedly he went to the consulate there, I believe, or anyway, to Arabia, and supposedly they killed him. So anyway, um, I've put up here when I went to the Washington Post back in, when was that, early 1982, I guess, would have been the date. And I was trying to see Mrs. Graham because of what I've been writing about mind control murders and all that. And her husband, Philip Graham, was on the board of, what was it? It's one of the communication satellites, which nowadays you can understand nobody cared back then to hear about it. But anyway, he supposedly committed suicide, and I was writing about the Tesla files had been, and where you can create an illness or cure it, and use it to program people or. Not funny. I'm not laughing for that. It's so ludicrous that people have let it go by, because I've been telling this. And then I came back yesterday and I got some of the really nasties from a black guy calling me this old whitey. And I thought, and saying nasty things. There's a couple, well, there's some more on YouTube. I did nothing. I was kidnapped and brought over here, and I've told the truth. You can't even tell the mess that's happened to me and my sons um, because of who we are. My father's Edward VIII. He never married Wallace Simpson. They took him down. There isn't anybody here in this country that shouldn't be that doesn't know it. If they don't, it's their fault. I wish the day would come that the press that's controlled by the Illuminati would have to tell the truth. And I'm sitting here this morning, and I've had a rough time. I'm older now, and I found out about my kidnapping in '83 when I was in a political campaign, flown out to Larry Flint's because he'd been shot by a program shooter back in May of, what was it, March of 1980, 76, excuse me. I just got up and I don't know, rough. So I guess somebody will pin me as being crazy because I'm up doing this morning. So let me get back to this. You can cause, with mind control, the Tesla files that were stolen back in 1930, and that's what I'd been writing about, and people who had been programmed because you're taking away their civil rights. They don't even know they've been programmed, certainly didn't okay it. And just like the Virginia Tech next door to me, the shootings there in the rural Colorado, where the person was programmed to shoot, and then that didn't happen in rural Colorado. They turned around and put him in a mental hospital, and the doctors know the difference. They all do. He's not mentally ill. You deprogram him. He's a victim himself. Instead of treating him with psychotic drugs and throwing him to a hellhole, a mental, treating him for something he's not. Like, would you like to be treated for cancer and you don't have cancer, or treated for pneumonia when you have cancer? And stop and think about it. So anyway, I was writing about this, thinking that, because that's who I am, I care, and I want to, makes me wonder about my life uh, at all, what's happened to me. And I get some response lately. I haven't even had clothes and proper meals to eat, and lived on the Appalachian Trail and froze and starved trying to find my children. People treat me like a piece of. Now then, I'm going to get to this. When I was up at the Washington Post, so when Hinckley had supposedly, John Hinckley Jr. shot Reagan, and the Brady Press Secretary Brady and taking away of the guns was the result of it. They all knew this. They all have. It's mind control. You don't take away your guns. That's the last thing you take away. It's not the guns that did it. It's the people programming it, doing the programming. But anyway, I went into the Washington Post, and I've put this up many times over the last years, and I was going to say Katharine Graham because I didn't know today then what I know today. So she's the last person I should have gone to. But there was a movie made of Katharine, of the two reporters, and even one of them that I thought was halfway decent is one that was writing this nasty book about Donald Trump. Anyway, I got into the Washington Post, and I had everything on me, letter from the FBI, all this on me, where I'd written the book and ongoing investigation and all this. And I was up there with no money, trying to get to people to see if they would help. And I thought Katharine Graham would want to know how her husband died if she didn't. So anyway, a reporter helped me. They told me she was on the top floor or something, I believe. And I finally made my way up there. And security didn't stop me. They were supposed to, I guess. And I got up there, and Mrs. Graham supposedly looked at the info and had her security guard come, and I was out the door. I won't say he shoved me out the door. I really can't remember. But he certainly got me on the elevator and down. And then I remember walking out the door, and there was a black guy that was at the information counter that said, when I came in and told him I wanted to see Katharine Graham, he was on the outside coming through the door as I was exiting, and he said, we'll see you again, Well, I don't know, and I haven't been, nobody's done anything other than my life's been a living hell. Like I'm the one committing the crime or something, called everything in the book. But the point is that my father put all this up since 2012, about April. It's when I bought the first phone, went on Facebook, and then YouTube. So there's been days that I've spent putting YouTubes up 5 a day over all these years. And I get nasty, horrifying, cruel. I get some nice ones lately, and nice people have attempted to help. But anyway, I'm watching all this. The minister that was brought back after 2 years in captivity in Turkey, I believe, and he went in and prayed with President Trump. This was a minister, and about the bad time he had for 2 years being held captive. Okay, now then you got all this about the journalists that the king of Saudi Arabia is being questioned, and all this is going on. The press just went gun-ho, but it's controlled by the Illuminati that kidnapped me. The Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers. I've put all this up over and over. Took my father down because he wouldn't do what they demanded. He worked for the British. He's not supposed to work for the Illuminati, your global government, your Freemasons, but Elizabeth does. That's who. She's illegal. Her father was illegal. They knew I was kidnapped, and I'm the monarch. Legal. Papers drawn up. You get all this stuff so convoluted thrown at my dad, and then me coming. I couldn't make it up. Call names and what's been done to my children, but simply because they're heirs after me. And I'm watching Channel 7 here. All of Roanoke has known since I came here, if not before, in surrounding areas in Washington, D.C. The press has all known. They've been told to keep quiet. It wouldn't be in national security's best interest to tell the truth about what's been done to me, and the taking down a monarch with lies in every Mary Wallace Simpson. and kidnapping his daughter. JFK helped kidnap me. I put all this up. My point is, I don't know if I live to see the day I'm old. I mean, that black guy, and can I say black guy? He called me this old white hag and everything, so excuse me for getting old in the process of what this country and part of my own. Winston Churchill, a few of them did, the Freemasons, the gobbledygook Illuminati. Now, there's been torture, and I put something up yesterday I've not put up before, and then I took it off because it would just be more of the same thing. It would have to go before court and tell about me and shame people, and then who's going to go back and bring all the press, Illuminati press here in America, to account for what they've done, and the people. I mean, this didn't just happen by one person doing this to me. It happened because a whole country let it happen, except for a few decent people in between. And they'll get mad at me for saying that, but that's the truth. There's been some good people lately, and I'm sure through time there's been some, or I wouldn't be alive, but it's been wholly held unto me. And don't dare say you're British and you were kidnapped and brought over here, and, well, just shut up. That sure, it's like I committed the crime to even tell them I'm imposing on them. So anyway, and then I remind them my mom is from Madison, Wisconsin. She's Georgia O'Keeffe's baby sister. She's a school teacher. She married my father. He never married Wallace Simpson. It doesn't seem to resonate with some people. They just want it shut up, just like the press that I'm looking at right here. They all know this. I was told Channel 7 by one of its own people that met me. I didn't know who he was at first, and said that they're not going to touch it. Nobody has. Nobody's told the truth. Yet they can gun-ho go over Saudi Arabia and demand that justice be done for the journalist that's disappeared there. Yet, how do you think it would look if they told the truth to the world? What's been done to me and my children and my father and me telling and mother, and me trying to tell about the mind control murders that have been committed. Scott Peterson's on death row. O.J. Simpson was programmed. I don't even know if anybody's bothered to tell him the black leaders who certainly know, and they're supposedly civil rights activists. Yet they and others have destroyed mine. I mean, Reverend Andrew Young, and you keep going there. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here. I don't know if it'll ever be told right at the moment. Things aren't going well for my health, and the black fellow that got on there and called me ugly white names. I'm the very one. It's so odd because I'm the one that was never prejudiced. And I was, I guess, blind. What is it? I don't know. I had to be thrown out there. Did nothing wrong. Was kidnapped, my kids and me tortured beyond belief. And didn't commit the crimes. I didn't swim across the pond. I've endured the whole mess, and to be ostracized was, I wonder, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, he called me these names. You're into name calling, I'll just say, you're black. That's, well, I don't know. Will I live to see the day that they finally tell the truth? And then how do you go and round up all these people, your press, and put them in jail because they're the one that's so gun-ho against Trump, to find out what happened to the journalist? And they're talking about how to make Saudi Arabia pay. How do you make you address yourself, American press, way back before you helped take down my father? Because he was a good guy. And my mom, she was an American. And here's Meghan Markle. Yesterday, that's all the press could tell. You know, Elizabeth's illegal. You can't wait to go over there and she works for the Illuminati. And here little old Mia is over here just telling you the truth nobody wants to hear.